Up, test. Okay, there we go. Now I can hear it. What is up? What is up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Straight Talk Society. Welcome to another episode of Pause and Reflect. I know you guys are used to me coming at you at 6:30 in the morning, but I have this my mic keep going out on me. I have the day off today, so I decided to come in a little later. Um, but you know what? It's almost good that I was able to do this show today on a day off, so I don't have to rush as much. I don't have to rush through it because you guys know normally these things are only 20 minutes, but you know, I want to be able to actually go through this one. And the topic of today's show is becoming the man you needed growing up. Oh boy. A lot of directions, but we'll try to keep it nice and streamlined. So before we even get into this, the happy Friday, first of all. Hopefully everybody has a great Friday. They enjoy their weekend. Like I said, I do have the day off today, so I do have an extended weekend. Um, Yesterday was my daughter's birthday. The day before was my wife's birthday. So I took the day off today so I could hang out with them and all that good stuff. I feel like my mic just keeps going in and out. I don't understand what's going on here. Let me see something. One second. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm glad that I got time today to do this one, just because it's going to be a little more. It's going to be a little more extensive. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Like I said, the topic of today's show is becoming the man you need growing up. And as customary, you guys know we always go to the Bible. We always go to the Bible to try to establish some things. We always go to the Bible just to give you your daily word for the day. We always go to the Bible because not for nothing. This might be shout out to the captain. Hey Cap, let me know if you can hear me because for some reason I cannot hear myself, and I don't like to do that. I do not like when I can't hear myself. And a lot of times we go to the Bible because not for nothing, this will be the only time you guys ever go is when you hear me read. So let's get into it. We're gonna go to the book of Psalms and read the actual first psalm, and then just a couple of scriptures, a couple of verses. So it says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he do shall prosper." And that is a very, very familiar psalm, very, very familiar psalm. And I think it's right on time for the topic of today's show, because the topic of today's show is becoming the man that you needed growing up. And the psalmist basically breaks down in a nutshell a man right there. Blessed is the man that that doesn't sit in the seat of the scornful, but he delights in the law of the Lord. And I just wanted to go there just so we could establish some things, because whenever I do these shows, you always get the group that's like, "Oh man, here you go again. You're bashing us. You're bashing us." It's not. If the 14 or 15 of these that I've done already, you don't realize what is going on here, that I am really trying to help some brothers grow, then I don't know. This may not be the thing for you. Um, you know what I mean? But because I am all about building the man, So a lot of us grew up without the examples that we needed. I mean, we can't dispute that fact that even though the numbers are high with black men taking care of their kids at 72%, we can't not talk about the other 30, what's that? 28%, 30, yeah, 28%. You can't not talk about them. And that statistic is just saying that they're in the lies, not necessarily that they're in the house. Huh. We needed a man who could show us how to lead, how to love, how to fight through life's challenges. But here's the truth. You can still become the man for yourself. You can still become that man for yourself, your family, and your community. We do have a victim mentality in the black community. We have a victim mentality as men. We always say, oh man, the reason why I'm not where I was because I didn't have a father to show me. The reason I'm not what I needed to be is because nobody ever taught me. And a lot of that is true. A lot of that is true. But again, like I said, this is why I'm here today. I'm here to point out some facts, to point out some truths. So at some point we could move past that and start becoming the man that our families need, start becoming the man that your kids are crying for. Your kids are crying for a daddy. They're crying for a man to lead them. Your wife, your woman, whatever, significant other, crying for some leadership, crying for somebody to show them some masculinity. And some of us on the inside are saying, I want to do it, but I don't know how. Nobody ever taught me. I don't know. I just don't know. There's a couple of impacts in life that are very obviously for not having a strong role model, a strong male in the life. And the biggest one, me and the captain, man, we broke this down so great on Man Talk Monday, but the confusion about masculinity. There's a great confusion about masculinity in our community because most of the households are led by women. And again, it's no indictment on the women. I always talk about Adam and Eve. All the instructions went to Adam. So a lot of times we put women in positions that they have no business being in. And some of them have stood in the paint, but some of them have been so damning. Some of them have done some things that have destroyed some boys, and they did it all in the name of love because they didn't know. They didn't know any better. They didn't know any better. So when you walk around and you see these young boys, oh my goodness, I feel like we got to go back here again for Man Talk Monday. But when you see these young boys that are so feminine, it's because 9 out of 10 there wasn't a man in there. There wasn't a man in that house. There wasn't a man. Shout out to Black Storm Ministry. Shout out to E in the building. Shout out to Tequila. There wasn't a man in the house that could show them the way. And for whatever reason, the captain even said, I was so glad that he brought it out because we don't rehearse any of this stuff about putting them out of the house, under the Lyndon B. Johnson and the welfare and all that stuff. You can't discredit that. And that's the reason why we're doing these pause and reflects is to show you the importance of men. The importance of men. Women are, I say the women is the greatest thing on earth. They're the best, It's not good that man should be alone. You know what I mean? But when strong, righteous men are in authority, then things go better. And the reason this world is in the condition that it is in right now is because a lack of strong, righteous male leadership. There's also a lack of direction. No blueprint for leadership, no discipline or emotional strength. There's no plan. You could be the greatest player in a sport, but until you have that coach that could bring it out of you, then your full potential is untapped. I'm a Dolphin fan. Everybody knows it. I mean, hey, we thought we had a draft bust when it came to Tua. But all it took was for Mike McDaniel to come in and say, hey, I believe in you. I believe in you. Let's do it this way. And, he gave this guy an MVP season. The potential is always there. It's always there. But a lot of us is not cultivated because there's no man in there. There's no man in the house. And then we carry that into our house. And we're like, oh man, my dad never showed me how to do this. My dad never taught me how to pay bills. My dad, when I was growing up, my dad used to bring a calculator into the grocery store, and he used to always, it was embarrassing. And then I used to laugh, like, why did he did it? Why did he do it? And he'd be like, hey, because I have a budget and I do not want to spend over a certain amount of money. And here I am all these years later at 45 years old, like, man, boy, my dad was right. I'm telling you. See, and I have the luxury. I call it a luxury because my dad raised me. I was raised by my dad. So I'm a little different, every now and then there was a different woman here or there to leave her, give me just that little bit of softness that I needed, a good, the emotionalism. But for the most part, my dad raised me the entirety of my life, born into the queen of the Straight Talk Society. My dad raised me. So I do see things from a different lens. We do have some emotional wounds as men. Father wounds, feeling abandoned, lack of affirmation. That's the one. The lack of affirmation. Most boys, if you ask them, and I said it a couple of shows ago, that a mother could tell you how proud they are of you, but when you hear from daddy, you're like, oh my God, I could do anything. I could run through the wall. I could, the strength comes from that. The motivation comes from that. I never forget when I got married, just before I was about to walk out, my dad came to me and he, my dad came to me and he just put his arms on my shoulder. He kissed me on my forehead and he said, man, I am so proud of you. And at that moment, it unlocked all those years of everything. I'm like, man, I really can do anything in this world. I am going to walk down this aisle. I'm going to marry this woman. I'm going to be the best husband that I can humanly possibly be. Because my dad just literally just unlocked something in me. That's all it takes. Again, I always tell you, I always go to the Bible because there is not a thing. Listen, debate me on it. There is not a thing in earth that you can't find in the scripture, that you can't find some correlation to the scripture. When the prophet went to Jesse to see his sons, he's like, oh my God, is this all the sons? He's like, oh yeah, I do have David, but David is, a little scrangly little fella. And the prophet said, this is the one. Because everybody else was looking for a big, mighty man. But God saw the inside. And he and basically what the prophet was doing, he saw the king in David. He spoke the kingship into David. And that's what a lot of our boys are missing today, that they don't have that man to speak the kingship in them. They have their moms telling them, you're my king, which is a total mistake. If women, if you're listening and you do that, you need to stop doing that right now. Your son is not your king. Your son is not your king. You need to get yourself a man and stop putting that kingship on that boy. Only a father could speak that kingship into that boy. We do have poor habits that we learn everywhere else. So where there's an absence of the father, most cases, young boys will go try to find it in the streets. They'll go try to find that brotherhood sometimes in gangs. They'll get caught up with bad friends. You know, they'll just it'll just be bad. It'll just be bad for everybody. You know, because they don't have that strong support. They don't have that male figure at home to say, hey, that's not the way to do it. Because a lot of times, I'm going to say this, if there's an absence of a man in the house, that means that the mom is probably working more than she should be. So she doesn't have time to micromanage that kid. She doesn't have time to streamline what that kid is doing. Things like that. There's a reason I don't work weekends. I don't work weekends. I don't work overnights. I got to be home to raise mine. I have to be in this house to raise my daughter. You know what I mean? My wife does a hell of a job, but she can't do it by herself. I have to be here because you always have that yin and yang, I guess you could say, that, you know, again, if daddy says it, my daughter, so, you know, that's a little young girl. So she just turned 10 yesterday. So happy birthday to the princess. But I don't even have to touch my daughter. Like, I literally, if I look at my daughter and she sees that I'm disappointed, oh my God, you might as well just took everything in the world from her, because she don't want to disappoint daddy. And that just goes to show you, man, how much fathers matter. Fathers matter so much. We don't understand how important fathers are. But what happens if you didn't have one? Getting back to my original point, what happens if you didn't have one? Then you carry that into your next relationship. You don't know how to be there for your kids. My dad taught me how to do everything. So there's not a conversation that I can't have with my daughter. You know, when it comes to the girl part conversation, that's what she got her mom here for. So I'm glad about that. But any other conversation, she can feel free to come to me about anything, because I was able to go to my dad about any and everything. But what happens to the boy that doesn't have that? He can't go to his dad because he don't know his dad. He didn't have any strong role models. He didn't, every person of authority in his life is a woman. Women at home, in the school system. Most of the teachers in the school system are women. You know, there's a strong need for strong male teachers, but unfortunately males aren't getting into teaching anymore. I think growing up in all my years of school, I may have had 4 men teachers in the entirety of school. Teaching well, especially in the state of Florida, I guess. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but teaching is, most of the teachers that you see are women. So your home being raised by women, and now you go to school where you're spending the majority of your time, there's women. So everything that you're learning in life is coming from women. Everything positive, I say. Not everything negative. Everything, everybody that's speaking into your life is coming from women. So you don't know the difference. So now when you try to go get some male companionship or something, it's normally is normally tied up in knuckleheads. Oh man. But I wasn't even going this way this morning, but I feel like I have to. So let's look at this, man. You may have not received it, but you're not broken beyond repair. You're capable of breaking the cycle. Break the cycle today. Somebody break the cycle, because if not, you didn't see a man, you didn't have male leadership. You're not going to be there. You're going to be an absentee father for your kids. And you very well can be an absentee father and still be in the house. You can be an absentee husband and still be in the house. Then their kids are going to do it, and you just never, ever break the chain. You never break the cycle. But we're going to break this cycle today. We're going to break this cycle today. I told you I got a little bit of time today. So what are some things that we needed growing up? Let's look at some things that we needed growing up. We needed to see a man who led by example. Did you? If you did, then this one's not for you. I'm talking to the person who didn't. We needed to see a man who provided structure and discipline. Structure. Most boys, that's, I always say this, send a lot of these criminals to the military. You always talk about prison overcrowding and all this type of stuff. Send these jokers to the military, because a lot of them lack discipline. And it's either they're going to get in line or they're going to be put on the front line. Plain and simple. Send a lot of these guys to the military so they could learn discipline, because a lot of them have no discipline. I could tell they don't have discipline. You could just see, you could just look at them. You just look at them and you're just like, oh my goodness. Where's the discipline? Where's the discipline? Just plain and simple, young boy walking and you see elderly people or something like that, and you don't at the very least hold a door open for them. Who raised you? Who taught you how to do that? And then you turn into a grown man who sits in the car while his woman pumps the gas. Like, who raised you guys? Like, I don't. I ask that question sometimes. I see, like, I go to the gas station and I see these women at the pump, and I'm like, damn, she's pumping her gas, and then I happen to walk around and I see a guy, able-bodied guy, just sitting in there on his phone while she's pumping the gas, and she probably paid for it. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, bro. What are we doing here? Who raised these jokers, man? I don't understand. I really don't understand what's going on, man. And you watch them and you see them with their skinny jeans on, and it's just so annoying. It's man, when I look at these crop of boys now, I'm like, man, if we don't save these boys, we are in trouble. And I have a daughter, so here it is. This is selfish motives for me, because I don't want one of these knuckleheads to come to me talking about they want my daughter, or they want to marry my daughter, they want to take my daughter out, because I'm gonna be like, hell no. You can't come to my house asking to take my daughter out and you talk just as feminine as her. No, man, let's get some structure back. Let's start building boys back up to what boys were. Let's start building men back up to what men were. Let's teach men to stop acting out of their emotion. We needed a man that showed love, patience, and accountability. One thing about my dad, my dad wasn't taking no blame for you. He let you know, hey, you did this and now you're going to have to deal with the repercussions. I got in a lot of trouble when I was young growing up. And my dad, oh my goodness. I remember the first time I got in trouble. I think I was like 4th or 5th grade. And, me and my friends, there you go. We did some stuff and we ended up going to juvie, and they called my dad, and I'm like, all right, well, cool. He's just going to come get me. And my dad asked him, how long can you keep him? And they were like 21 days. And they was like, all right, I'll see him then. I'm like, what? What? Like, what? Because listen, my dad is the type of guy, man. He wasn't never did any military service or anything like that. But my dad is as stern as they're going to get. He is going to love you through discipline, and he will tell you that as long as you're his kid and you're living in his house, you are not breaking any rules. You're not doing anything. You can't get away with things. You're not going to be able to you're not the man of the house. You don't pay any bills. You don't pay a bill. He's allowing you to stay there. You know what I mean? So luckily somebody else got me out, but like my dad wasn't having it. He was like, hey, y'all can hold him for 21 days. Go ahead and hold him. Because the discipline, because listen, had I stayed in there for 21 days, I would have learned my lesson. Because then when I got out, I would have had to deal with him also, which probably would have been scarier. But a lot of yeah. So but even in his sternness, man, he's very, very loving. Especially now he's getting older. And now that I have a kid, now it's like you get to see that side of him that we didn't always get to see growing up, like as far as just being the big softy and things like that. Because he always he's always a disciplinarian, always. And when I got older, I used to always ask my dad, I'm like, man, why were you so hard on me? Why were you so much harder on me than my brother? And he was like, because I see so much in you. I expect so much out of you. You could be so great. And I just never forgot that. So let's look at a couple of steps, and I'm almost done, but like I said, I'm off today, so I got a little bit of time. So let's look at how to become a man. We got to take some ownership. Take some ownership of your growth. You got to stop blaming your past and own your future. Oh my goodness. One thing we could do in the Black community, we could all agree on this. We know how to play victim. We know how to play victim. Listen, I am almost, if you're an 18-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid that's messing up in life because your dad wasn't there, I get it. Because you're not that far removed from being a kid. But you're 30, 40, 50 years old still blaming your dad not being there as the reason why you're not excelling in life, then it's time to look in the mirror. It's time to look in the mirror. You're holding yourself hostage to a situation that you should have sought help for a long time ago. And I know it sounds harsh. I know that's not the popular thing to say, because they're like, oh man, now you're victim blaming and this and that. I absolutely am not victim blaming. But what I am saying, and I say this to women, if you're going to constantly compare every man, every relationship to the man that hurt you, to the man that left you, to the man that abandoned you, then you might as well not get in any relationships. It is time to move on and heal, or just be by yourself. Stop being a prisoner to your past, because you know what? You can't correct it. You can't go back in life and right every wrong that you did. Sometimes I think about things that I've done in life. I'm like, man, I wish I could go back and change this. I wish I could go back and change this. Guess what? You can't. Can't be done. So what do? You need to learn to move on and heal from certain things. You need to seek some mentorship, man. Listen, what do they call it? Therapy is okay. Therapy. I know it's a stigma in the Black community. Therapy. Get on somebody's couch. Talk some of these things out. Talk some issues out. Get in a brotherhood. Get in a brotherhood that you could, with some brothers that you could trust. We need to start building emotional intelligence. We need to learn. Oh my goodness. We need to learn to manage our emotions and express them constructively. Be the common presence that you needed growing up. Oh, listen, we could do a whole entire just pause and reflect strictly, and I am going to do that on emotionalism in men. Because again, I am not anti-emotion. Listen, man, if you want to cry, you want to have a moment. My wife put together a video package of my daughter for her birthday. And man, you guys know me personally. You know the struggle that it was to get my daughter in this world and all the hospital stays and this and that. And as I'm watching that video, I am just sitting there just tearing up. So I am not talking about that. But what I am talking about is a man that just leads out of emotion. Everything he does is just emotion. He can't have a conversation with you because his emotions take over. He can't lead his house because his emotions take over. He can't talk to his wife because his emotions take over. He can't be there for his kids because he can't get out of the way of his emotions. That's what I'm talking about. And let me tell you something. Women ain't going to follow an emotional man. They'll have sex with an emotional man. They'll give an emotional man kids. They'll even live with an emotional man. But guess what? They are not going to submit to an emotional man. They are not going to tell an emotional man, hey, I trust you, lead me. They're not going to do that. And the reason a lot of you fail at leadership is because you're too damn emotional. And that's why nobody wants to follow you. That's why nobody wants to follow you. There it is right there. I have said it. That's the key right there. That's why nobody will follow you. That's why your woman won't respect you. That's why your kids don't listen to you, because you're too emotional. When they look at you, they see weakness and not strength. Oh my God, man. Listen, man. Good morning to brother Jackie. I am preaching this morning. My God, I feel so good this morning. Man, I'm 30 minutes in already. My goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, man, hear me talking. Let me see what Jackie said. Yeah, stop making excuses. Let me see what Jackie says. I ask my sons all the time, what did I raise, men or boys? I told my sons, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. Absolutely, man. Kids are an extension of ourselves, and we always want to see them do better. When I call my dad and I say, hey man, guess what? You're about to have some new neighbors. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, we just bought the house around the corner from you, or something to that effect. He was like, what? Oh man, he was so happy when he came over here. He was just so happy, just cheesing and just grinning. And like I said, when I got married and when I had my daughter, he was just cheesing and grinning, because he's like, that's my son. I'm telling you, when you get it from daddy, you hear the props from mommy, and it's good and it makes you feel all good. But when you hear your dad say, I am proud of you, it does something to you. I'm gonna tell you, for me, it does something for me. It's just like, oh my God. And on the verse, when you disappoint your dad, it is crushing. I remember in my early 20s, I got in some serious trouble. And my dad found out, and he got the call. And man, the look of disappointment on his face. He really let me down. And man, you could have took me out right then and there, because I was just like the worst feeling in the world is to disappoint your dad. I can tell you, my daughter will tell you, she'll look at you and she'll be like, Daddy, are you disappointed in me? Are you upset with me? And I'm just like, man, and she's not asking it just to try to be a little shyster. She's asking it because what I'm about to tell her is going to make or break her day. So stop acting like men don't matter. Stop acting like I'm telling you, man, a man is again righteous leadership and authority is given to the man to be helped by the woman, to lead the woman. The woman is the weaker vessel. Why would you as a man want your woman to lead anything? Think about it. Think about it on some carnal, low level. Let's bring it down to the bare bones, basic stuff. Why would you want your woman leading anything? Why would you want your woman having the spearhead and make all the decisions in the house? Like what? Who raised? Well, again, I asked the question, who raised you? But a lot of us were raised. A lot of us were raised in the house with the woman being the head. We're a matriarchal society, regardless of how you want to say it, especially in the Black community. You know, we always talk about, people, in our community, divorce is so great. Oh, just get divorced. That's all they do. They push divorce. You ever wonder in the white communities why they don't push divorce? Those people will stay with each other until those kids get out of the house because they want structure for the kids. Those guys are thinking more beyond, she's not going to have sex with me. They're like, you know what? I need to be in this house because my kid, I don't want him to be the next person I see on TV doing something bad. So let me grit it out. I'm not even saying that's good, but I'm just telling you that we're so quick to try to be like, oh, that's it. I don't want to do it anymore. And then 9 out of 10, again, in the state of Florida, the kid, the custodial parent is always going to be the woman, no matter what. You would have to prove that woman is an absolute trash bag in order not to get that kid. So that kid is always going to go with that woman. So even if you're in that kid's life, you're still not in that kid's life as much as you should be because you're not in the house. Oh man. Let me move on, man, because I feel myself just getting, oh man. So we got to develop some strength and discipline, man. We got to lead ourselves. We got to learn to lead ourselves before we can lead others. Again, leadership it starts with you. It starts with you being taught under somebody's tree. But how could you be taught under somebody's tree if he wasn't there? So I'm not, I'm not totally absolving the absentee father. I'm not totally absolving the absentee father. We need to create structures in life, our work, our consistency, personal integrity. That's again integrity. That's why I picked the scripture that I did. I'm telling you, the Bible is right. The Bible is the answer. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. What is the law of the Lord? Righteousness, truth, integrity, perseverance. Oh my goodness. And in this law that he meditate day and night, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he do shall prosper. Whatsoever he do, whatsoever he leaves to this earth, his kids shall prosper. That's the promise. That's how important being a righteous man is. That is how important being an integral man is. You're not just thinking about for your lifespan, you're thinking about your kids' lifespan. What are you going to do? What's going to be your mark on this earth? What are you going to leave for your kids? And we're not just talking about money. We're talking about the name that you leave your kids. Oh my God, that's such and such son. Oh my God, that's such and such daughter. Their dad was a righteous man. Oh man. Oh boy. Let me wrap up here. Man, we gotta learn to be a protector and a provider, not just financially, but we got to provide emotional security and a safe environment. Again, I'm not anti-emotion. I'm just anti-leading out of your emotion. You better be able to show some emotion, especially if you have a daughter. You know, you have a daughter and she comes to you crying because some knucklehead broke her heart. You better not be like, oh, screw your emotions. You better know how to feel and sympathize and empathize what she's going through. And here's a good point here. We need to start investing in others. Invest in others. Step up for the younger men. Become the role model you never had. Lead your family, lead your community by example. Your healing often comes through helping others heal. Like I said, I was so blessed when the sister left a comment saying that she was going to have her son start watching these. These is how you, and he's a young kid. I don't even think he's 14 or 15, but this is how you heal. This is how you heal a generation. You impart wisdom into them. You take them under your wings. You say, no, 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 don't go that way. Don't do that. Don't do that. You invest in them. And then guess what? The ultimate thing that everybody wants, you get healing. We need to acknowledge the grief of not having that role model. It hurt. It hurt. Well, I mean, listen, I don't know. Hell, my mom might be listening right now. Who knows? I don't know what my life would have been like had my mom raised me. I don't know. But my dad raised me. So I don't feel that grief of not having a father in the house. I don't know that. When I hear people bad mouthing men for not being in the house, when I hear people bad mouth men for being ain't shit, when I hear people bad mouth dads, that's not my testimony. But guess what? I never bad mouth my mom. Isn't that funny how that works? So if the dad's not there, we could bash him. But if the mom's not there, 9 out of 10, that boy is not going to bash his mom. He's just going to be like, you know what? My dad stood in the paint and he did what he had to do. And that's the difference. You need to understand that your experiences can now be used to create a new standard. Things that I dealt with as a kid, my daughter shouldn't have to deal with. Hardships that I dealt with, my daughter shouldn't have to deal with, because I use those as learning tools, as what not to do, as what not direction to go. You know, and a lot of that too is even in financial literacy. A lot of us weren't taught financial literacy growing up. They still don't teach it in school, which is ridiculous. I have never ever in my life use the E equals MC square. I've never used that in my life. Never. I've never used pi. And it's funny because the field that I'm in is I deal with diagrams and blueprints and I read part prints all day. I do all that type of stuff, but I have never used most of this stuff that they teach, that they taught us in school. But God forbid you could teach some life lessons in school, like how to balance a checkbook, how not to spend more money than you use, than you make, how not to get yourself wrapped up in debt. I've been watching a lot of videos lately of like people paying these ridiculous amounts of money for cars, car insurance, and car interest and stuff like that. You know, some people 28%, some people are paying 30% on a car loan. That should be illegal. But you know what? Nobody taught them. Sometimes these girls are going in the dealership and they're like, man, I'm coming in here blind because I don't have anybody in my life that'll come here with me. So these car salesmen see that and they are ripping these people blind. That is the importance of having that man there to say, hey, we're going to do it this way. because men don't lead out of emotion. So even if you want that vehicle, that man will tell you, hey, let's just walk away from this deal. But you see, again, you don't have strong leadership. You wouldn't know that. You'll just sign whatever deal that you get because you don't have that man there to say, hey, we're going to walk away from that. We're not going to do that one. And that salesman respects that. Like, oh man, this is a guy that knows what he's talking about. Let's try to get a little better. We're going to do a little better here. All right. Forgiveness and self-compassion are necessary to build the man that you're becoming. Forgive. If you want to blame, if you want to go through life 30, 40 years blaming your dad for not being there, piece of Ricardo in the building. You want to blame your dad all the time for what you could have been. How about forgiving him? Because I want to tell you something. A lot of us don't know the story. A lot of us don't know what happened. You don't know the inside dealings. You don't know what was the reasoning for him not being there. And if he was just a deadbeat, ain't shit dude, then screw him. But if he was a good, hardworking fella that just got with the wrong woman, then you don't know the situation as to why he wasn't there. And I think that you should give that guy some grace, just because he brought you into this world. You should give that guy a little bit of grace and at the very least, forgive him so you could move on. Forgive him so you could be better in life. Forgive him so you could stop holding on, so you could stop limiting yourself, so you could live to your full potential. Nobody's time is promised. We don't know how much time we have. And God forbid you go through life blaming somebody that's trying to live theirs. The funniest thing is you're watching a scorned woman she's in a new relationship, still trying to make the old guy jealous. Why? That guy's moved on with his life. That's crazy. That's crazy. But again, that comes with leading out of emotion. All your decisions are emotional. And you be no good for no. I'm telling you, man. Just listen to me as your brother, man. I am trying to tell you, those that's listening, those of you that are going to be listening to this, I am trying to tell you, if you don't heal right now, if you don't begin that healing process from blaming your dad for never being there, if you don't begin that healing process for not seeing a good man, if you don't begin that healing process for your mom raising you the way that she did, then you're just going to keep putting children in the world that's going to be just like you, because you won't know to teach them any better. Today you have a choice. Continue the cycle of absence or step up and become what you needed. There it is. I laid it out there. The choice is yours. Be the leader, the teacher, the protector, and the example. Guess what? Because somebody's watching you. Somebody is watching you. And 9 out of 10, the people that are watching you are the little human beings that you made. The people that are watching you are the little human beings that you made. And they are holding on to that every example that you make. They are holding on to every word that you say. They are holding on to every action that you take. And what you do now can shape their future. But hey, I'm just the guy with the microphone. What the hell do I really know? That's what they say. They'll say, "Oh man, you're just a guy with the microphone. You know, you just talk and you don't know my story. You don't know my story." I don't. But I also know that there's nothing new under the sun. And nobody's nobody's experiences are that far off. Oh man, I was in an abusive relationship. Yeah, you and another couple million other people. You know, I had an alcoholic dad. Yeah, you and a couple other million people. You know, my dad was a womanizer. My mom brought other men in and out of the house. Yeah, you and a couple other million people. There is nothing new under the sun. Nobody's experiences are that much different. That's why I could say what I'm saying right now. You got to heal. You got to heal. I know it's hard, but you're not healing for your victimizer. You're healing for yourself, and you're healing for your kids. Hey, let me see what Ricardo say. Facts, Trev, is hella scary. I had to correct my behavior around my daughters. Yeah, and man, Ricardo got daughters, like daughters. You know, I got one daughter, so you know what I mean. So I would be scared as hell being in Ricardo's shoes. In this world, around these boys that are being taught that they're their mom's king. These boys that are being raised to wear matching clothes like their moms. They're basically their mom's boyfriend. And, you know, I saw a video. I didn't see the whole video, but I saw the picture. I need to find the video and look at it. Ricardo, send it to me because I know you have it. With Jaden Daniels, the quarterback for the Washington Redskins. He was sitting next to Juju Watkins at a game, and then it kind of fast forward, and then his mom is sitting in the middle of them. And the headline was something to the effect like, "Mom's not having it." You see how destructive that is? You see how destructive that is? This is an NFL quarterback. He was one game away from the Super Bowl in his rookie season, talking to the best female basketball player in the league right now. And all of a sudden, his mom wants to go put her ass in the middle of them talking. You see how destructive that is? I need to see the complete video before I 100% go off on it. But women, your son is not your king. Stop calling your son king, my king. Listen, the only king, you're your wife's king. That's it. You're not your mom's king. Stop putting these boys in positions to replace the man that left or to replace the man that you put out of the house. Stop doing that. You're setting up these unrealistic expectations for these little boys. And then when they go out into the real world, after you put the titty in their mouth for so long, and the first time a woman tells him, "No, I don't like you," then he wants to slap her. He wants to beat her up. He wants to beat her up because he can't handle rejection, because his whole life mama never told him no. Shout out to Maria in the building. Shout out to D Lock in the building. Man, now y'all coming in when I'm getting ready to go. Maria says 2 Corinthians 12 and 14. Let me go to that real quick before I get out of here. But yeah, man, you guys don't understand. So for every time you want to tell that man that he ain't nothing, and listen, and I started out saying some men aren't anything. They aren't crap. But every time you want to tell that man that he's not shit, look at the little boy that you're raising in his absence. You're giving that little boy your spirit. And then when you're and then when your little boy does when your little boy the 2 videos from Man Talk Monday, when your little boy has a crown in his hand twirling around like a little girl, or when your little boy is having his dad come be his prom date because he wants to be a woman, then you think about what you did. You think about how you ruined that boy. Next time you want to say that every man ain't this, every man ain't that. But again, it's a cycle. If you grew up not seeing your dad in the house, now the first time your son, your man does something wrong, you're going to want to hold it against him. We watched a movie last week, Duplicity. Which was a terrible movie, by the way. We got to do a review on that. But we watched a movie last week, Duplicity. This guy, every single thing, the first thing this guy did wrong, she just wanted to just hold everything against him. And that's a Tyler Perry, that's a Tyler Perryism. In all his movies, he just paints men out to be such crap. You know, I'd really like to look into his background. He just paints men out to be such crap. Don't hurt their feelings. Listen, hey, you know me, man. I am what I am, and that's all that I could be. That's all that I could be. I had to speak the truth, man. Because the worst thing that's going to happen, again, we all got daughters. All of us in here listening right now got daughters. And let me ask you a question. Do you want any of these boys to date your daughter? Get you guys in the chat while I get this scripture. You guys is in the chat right now. Do you want any of these boys now to date your daughter? Let's be real. This crop of boys that you see, let me come on, man. Let me get Corinthians. 2 Corinthians. What was it? 2 Corinthians 12 and 14. 12 and 14. Behold, the third time I am ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you. For I seek not yours, but you. For the children ought not to lay up for their parents, but the parents for their children. Absolutely. Every single thing that we do right now, stop being selfish. Know that it's for your offspring. Stop being selfish. Every decision that you make right now is for your offspring. If you have kids, then your decisions are going to affect them positively or negatively, no matter what. So stop being selfish. Just stop being selfish and learn to work with one another. But hey, like I said earlier, man, I'm just a man with the microphone. What do I know, man? Y'all please make sure and hit the like button on the video. Share the video out, man. Let everybody know what's going on. Pause and reflect. See, again, now you guys are starting to come in when I'm getting ready to close out. Isn't it like it? You guys used to me doing this at 6:30. I know that. That's fine. But I'm taking today off, so I didn't really get to. I didn't want to get up early. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. My wife's birthday was the day before. So I'm spending the day with them today. Then my daughter's birthday party is tomorrow. So, oh man, appreciate that, D-Lock. So we just, let's see, let's get it together, fellas. It's on us to save our community. Hey, listen, that is what pause and reflect is all about. If somebody ever said, hey, what's the purpose of pause and reflect, is that right there. Is on us to save our community, starting with our boys. Let's go back to the beginning. Since y'all want to discredit the Bible so much, let's go to the beginning. God said, Adam, where art thou? He didn't say, Eve, where are you? He said, Adam, where art thou? Where are you, Adam? And the word Adam means mankind. Adam, I could hear the Father just saying to the men, where are you? Where are you? Our boys are dying. Our girls are being prostituted out. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you, Adam? Where are you, men? Where are you, man? Where are you? Like, seriously, where are you? Are you so caught up in your own shit? Are you so caught up in wanting to be a passport bro? Are you so caught up in wanting to fulfill all your childhood lusts that you're forgetting about your boys? You're letting the boys just die along the wayside. Where are you? Where are you? Because we are put these women in a position that they were never designed to be in. Never meant to be there. My wife had all sons. She told me if I did have a daughter, she would have been miserable. She was right about that. Hey, listen, see, I've always wanted a daughter, so I got what I wanted. But yeah, so you're not, daughters are hard. I could imagine raising a daughter is harder than what it would be raising a boy, but it's not miserable. It's just, I don't know. It's a difference, especially with little girls, man. Especially when they're little like this. You know, you gotta put kid gloves on with them. But again, to my brothers, to my fellas, where are you? Where are you? Jennifer Hudson made a song. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Let me see what Maria said. I read somewhere the OnlyFans will one day be the number one employer for women. Look at that. Look at that. I read somewhere that OnlyFans will be the number one employer for women. Think about that. Do you want your daughter on the pole? Do you want your daughter turning tricks for money? Do you want your daughter showing off her bodily parts for money? Come on, man. Come on. Let's answer this question, man. You know what? I'm here now, so whatever. I've been on here long enough for 6 pause and reflexes during the week, but let's do it. If you're gonna do it, let's do it. Do you want your daughter being subjected to and listen, okay, so let's look at it this way. If your daughters have to turn to that industry, think about who the consumer is going to be. The consumer is going to be these crop of boys that are growing up now that already don't have respect for women, that already don't know how to appreciate women. And the minute the woman says, no, you can't have my number, or no, you can't fly me out, or no, you can't see me, then we'll see them on a crime and punishment video because somebody took the girl out. It's that serious. Is that serious what I'm talking about, man? Y'all may think this is all fun and games and this and that, but it is that serious. We are talking about life and death. And I am not going to sit back here and just be like, oh, everything is okay. Everything is peaches and cream when our boys are losing. Our boys are failing because of whatever reason that man isn't there. Our boys are not, they aren't where they need to be. They aren't where they need to be. Not all of them, but a good enough of them. A Bible says a little leaven spoileth the lump. Bible also tell you that if you got 100 sheep and one are lost, you go back and you find the one. So stop telling me that I spend too much time harping on the small portion. You got to go back and try to save everybody. The people that's okay, fine, they're good. But you're going to let your one lost sheep go out there and die? No, you're going to try to go back and get them. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So don't tell me, oh, why you only harp on the 30%? Why don't you praise the 70%? What the hell you think I've been doing for 2 years? I've been praising the damn 70%. But now it's time for me to go to that 30% and say, hey, come home. So again, I ask the question, men, where are you? Take enough time to stop chasing tail, stop chasing money, for a second, because I promise you it's going to be there. It's going to be there in abundance. And get your kids, save your kids, rescue your kids. Hey, now I'm about to close. I am the man with the microphone. I am Mr. Straight Talk. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Like I said, I got a busy weekend ahead of me. Y'all may see some shorts of me allegedly falling tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Allegedly, maybe. But you know, hey, man, y'all, everybody be safe, man. Be blessed. I'm not sure if I'll have an episode Monday. I'm not sure, but I definitely have one Wednesday and Friday. All the pause and reflects, because you know, like Eddie Israel said, this is my calling, man. Everything else is fun. Everything else is cool. Actually, somebody just sent me an email about doing a debate. I had to check that out. But this is my calling. This is where I need to be. Pause and reflect. So peace, everybody. Peace to everybody that came in. Peace to everybody that checked out. Please make sure and share the video out. Let me see. I want to make sure I didn't miss. Let me see. Women, please stop prostituting online, man. OnlyFans ain't it. Stick with a regular 9 to 5. Yeah, but Ricardo, if nobody's in the house to stress the importance of that to them, then where are they gonna go? Now you got moms competing with their daughters. The man had all the responsibilities in the beginning. Nothing changed. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. God spoke to Adam. He didn't speak to Eve. He didn't tell Eve to do anything. He just told her to be the helpmeet. But again, we put our women in a position that they're not meant to be in. I'm telling. There's a scripture in Isaiah that says when women are in authority, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's because there was no man to step up. That's not a good thing. That's what I keep trying to tell y'all, but y'all tell me that I'm misogynist. No, I'm not. If you really ask a woman like, hey, would you rather just be equal but be a helper and not have all of the burden on your head? I bet you 90% of them will be like, man, hey, hey, lead me. The man who has gone through, the man who has been gone a long time ago, Trevor, most of the men that grew up in my neighborhood, they were all on drugs. Horrible examples. Yeah, that's something I cannot deny that. What kind of example is the man setting today, walking around here with your pants off your ass? That's, hey, listen, last night I was, after we took my daughter to dinner, we decided to drive on the beach. And I didn't even know it was spring break, but man, I was, you ever felt like you just don't belong somewhere? That's how I felt. Like just, and as we're driving down the street, I couldn't have got home faster, because I'm just like, man, like this is crazy. Shout out to Eddie Israel in the building. Shout out to Lily. Man, let me see. Good morning and thank you. Peace and blessings. Everything is out of order. Yeah, everything is out of order. I'm telling you. Morning, Eddie. Everything is out of order. The head is. What did I say on Monday? If you want to destroy a race of people, if you want to destroy people, you cut off their ability to reproduce. And where does that start? That starts at the head. That starts with the man. Don't think that this isn't by design. Don't think that this stuff is just happenstance. They promote this type of stuff. This stuff is promoted to not want a man in the house. This stuff is promoted and applauded to have your little boys walking around here prancing like girls. This stuff is promoted because they want you out of here. Nobody knows that yet, because we're too busy talking about the latest celebrities. We're too busy talking about the drama that's going on. We're too busy. We have more distractions than enough, but we keep taking our eyes off the main focus of what's going on. And that is our kids are dying. Our kids are smarter than ever, but they're also dumber than ever because they have no concept of what's going on because nobody was there to teach them because the man is not there. Oh, Ricardo, yes, these men need to take back leadership roles. Absolutely. Women, we love y'all and appreciate y'all. We do. Men need to be in leadership and please allow us to lead. Ricardo, a woman will allow you to lead once you show one. Listen, I don't even say allow. A woman will get out of the way and submit to you once you show them that you are a leader. You can't, you can't, there's no, let me, like my wife don't need to allow me to do anything. She can't allow me to do anything. You just get out of the way and let me do it because you see that I've proven to you that I can. And that's it. That's the main thing of it. That is the whole crux of it. When a woman is combative with you and she doesn't want to step aside and let you lead, she doesn't want to she don't want to basically give you the keys, is because she's unsure of you. She won't tell you that she is, but she's unsure of you. She's unsure of you. She's scared. That's what it is. She's scared that if you lead, you will lead her right into a pit. That's what she's really afraid of. If you ask a woman right now to be honest, you put them on some truth serum and say, hey, are you, what would happen if I lead? What would happen if I lead? If just be honest, and they'll tell you, man, I'm scared to death if you lead. I'm scared to death of you leading because you have not shown me any signs that you're capable of being a good leader. And that's the truth of the matter. We try to get to this scripture. Let me see. Oh my goodness, man. See, this seemed to be a good time for you guys. This is a terrible time for me. I would have been going. I'm almost on my first break now at work. It's just that I took the day off. Let me see. So Lily says Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. I'm going to read this one and then I'm going to go because I really didn't plan on being here this long. But it says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of the man. And that goes back to the foundational scripture. I'm so glad you put that in here, Lily, because that goes back to the whole foundation of what I started this particular episode on. Psalms 1. Blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor sitteth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in this law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he do, he's going to prosper. And that whatsoever you do, you're going to prosper goes right down to your kids. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for coming in today. Please make sure and like, share, and subscribe to the video. I'm like I said, I don't know about Monday, but definitely Wednesday and Friday we'll have another episode. Kev gave me two shows that he wanted me to do, so I'm gonna take care of those. Thank you guys so much for coming through. I appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Y'all make sure and tune into the Men of God channel. Eddie, Duran, Keith, Jansen. They keep adding brothers over there. I see they got like 2 teachings scheduled for tomorrow. So y'all make sure. Oh no, today's Friday. Y'all make sure and check that out, man. Hey, with all that being said, I will see you guys next week. Peace.